The Valkyrian council chambers fell silent as Ambassador Threlix collapsed to her knees, her crystalline exoskeleton fracturing under the weight of despair. Around her, the holographic displays showed the same horrifying truth. The Krathorn swarm had breached the inner colonies. 3 billion souls had been consumed in the past solar cycle alone. "Please," she whispered, her voice harmonizing through frequencies that only a handful of species could fully comprehend. "Is there no one who will answer?" The galactic community had abandoned them. The mighty Zorathian Empire had withdrawn behind their fortress worlds. The collective of enlightened minds had declared the Valkyrian sector strategically untenable. Even the Mercantile Federation had ceased all trade routes, deeming the profit margins insufficient to justify the risk. The Valkyrians were alone, watching their civilization be devoured system by system. Threlix had one last desperate option: the forbidden frequency, the humans. Humanity had been quarantined by galactic consensus 40 cycles ago, after what the Council termed excessive aggressive tendencies. They had fought 3 border wars in their first decade of space travel, developed weapons banned by 17 interstellar conventions, and most disturbingly, refused to accept surrender from enemies they deemed irredeemable. The galaxy had collectively decided that humans were too dangerous to integrate into civilized space. But desperation made fools of the wise. Threlix activated the ancient communication array, the one kept locked in the deepest vault of the diplomatic station. She broadcast on all human frequencies, her translation algorithm struggling to convert Valkyrian grief into their primitive linguistic patterns. "Humanity of Earth and her colonies," she transmitted into the void. "The Valkyrian people face extinction. We have no claim to your mercy. We voted for your isolation. But we have children who sing songs they will never finish. We have gardens that will bloom for no one. If there is honor in your species, if there is compassion beneath your violence, please, help us." She expected silence. She expected the void to swallow her words as it was swallowing her people. Instead, 47 hours later, reality itself seemed to scream. The Krathorn swarm had just begun their assault on Velkara Prime when the first human vessels tore out of slipspace. They didn't emerge gracefully like civilized ships, sliding through dimensional membranes with mathematical precision. They ripped through, their experimental jump drives leaving wounds in space-time that bled exotic radiation. Fleet Admiral Chen stood on the bridge of the UHNS Indomitable, her dark eyes fixed on the tactical display showing thousands of Krathorn bioships swarming toward the Valkyrian homeworld. Around her, the command crew worked with practiced efficiency, their movements bearing the weight of humanity's 40-year exile. "Ma'am, we're receiving panicked transmissions from the Valkyrian Defense Fleet," her communications officer reported. "They're asking us to maintain distance. They think we're another hostile force." Chen allowed herself a cold smile. "Tell them we're the monsters they asked for. All ships weapons free. Rules of engagement. Anything with a Krathorn biosignature dies. No mercy, no quarter, no prisoners." The response from her fleet was instantaneous. "Aura!" What followed wasn't a battle. It was an extermination. The Krathorn had evolved to fight civilized species, beings who valued individual lives, who hesitated, who followed rules of engagement. They had never encountered humanity's brand of warfare. Human destroyers dove directly into swarm formations, their point defense systems creating spheres of death that shredded bioships by the hundreds. Carriers launched waves of fighters piloted by humans who treated ramming as a valid tactical option. Dreadnoughts fired weapons that the galaxy had banned for being unnecessarily cruel. Munitions that didn't just kill but ensured nothing could regenerate, adapt, or evolve from the remains. Ambassador Threlix watched from the surface of Velkara Prime as the sky became a light show of human fury. She saw a human cruiser, its hull breached and venting atmosphere, deliberately crash into a Krathorn hive ship 3 times its size. Both vessels vanished in an antimatter detonation that created a miniature sun. "They're dying for us," she whispered in horror and awe. "They barely know us and they're dying." But humanity wasn't done dying yet. When the Krathorn swarm attempted to retreat, to scatter and regroup as they had done against every other species, they found their escape routes cut off. Human ships had jumped behind them, forming a wall of steel and fury. Admiral Chen had studied the ancient human military philosophy. Never let a dangerous enemy live to fight another day. The battle lasted 18 hours. When it ended, the Krathorn swarm that had terrorized the galactic frontier for 3 decades ceased to exist. Not defeated, not scattered, extinct. Admiral Chen's face appeared on every screen across Velcara Prime. She looked exhausted, her uniform scorched, a bandage across her forehead from where a console had exploded during the fighting. Ambassador Threlix, she said, her voice rough but steady. We've eliminated the immediate threat. Our casualty reports show. She paused, pain flickering across her features. 14 ships lost with all hands. 3,217 souls. Threlix felt her heart shatter. They died for strangers, for people who condemned them. Chen's expression hardened. They died doing what humans do best, protecting those who can't protect themselves. You asked if there was honor in our species, if there was compassion beneath our violence. The answer is yes. But understand this, Ambassador. Humanity remembers both kindness and cruelty. We'll help rebuild your worlds. We'll station fleets to protect your borders. And maybe one day the galaxy will understand that our violence isn't what makes us dangerous. Then what does? Threlix asked. Admiral Chen's smile was terrifying in its gentleness. Our love, because there is nothing more destructive in this universe than a human who has something worth protecting. The transmission ended. Above Velcara Prime, the human fleet maintained its vigil. Guardians born from exile, saviors forged in fire, warriors who proved that sometimes the monsters were exactly what the innocent needed. And in the Galactic Council chambers, as news of the Krathorn's annihilation spread, every species faced an uncomfortable truth. They had quarantined humanity not because they were too dangerous to join civilization, but because they were dangerous enough to remind everyone what civilization was supposed to protect. The stars had heard the Velcarians' plea, and humanity had answered with blood and fire and love.